Take English, dance, and English class done at the same time. Whoo! Yeah. Like a hooker, she don't know the rest. She know I love it even if I never say the words. Ooh, something I can't replace. You make my heart burn. You make me stronger. I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. Ooh, something I can't replace. You make my heart burn. You make me stronger. I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. Trouble and a couple of bites, but I can stay over here and keep me up in the night. And when you're coming in here, I do it just like a lie. Girl, I'm ready for your love, girl, I keep on pulling. You my lucky number that I keep on calling. Wanna never let me go, she said you better put up. Cause I can still in the night and then I leave in the morning. I tell her one, I already know she the one, she 22. We in the parts I'm free, I'm with you free. You know she cool on me, then I make her take it off and put it all on me. Pain in the sheets, don't sleep tonight. Pain on Kelly, I believe I can fly. She like a hooper, she don't know the words. She know I love it even if I never say the words. Ooh, something I can't replace. You make my heart burn. You make me stronger. I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. Ooh, something I can't replace. You make my heart burn. You make me stronger. I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. Just glance. I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. I am my side. I'm going to connect the charger. I don't want the power getting out when I'm in the middle of the class. Okay. This is the real situation when you're looking at a real-time content. Okay. Wow. Okay. TOEFL map listening, intermediate level, Paragon Publishing. Alright? We're going to do chapter 4, C1, page 94. Are you ready? Then let's play the track.
Listen to part of a lecture in an economics class.
For most of human history, people didn't use money. Instead, they relied on trading or bartering to get goods and services. Bartering can be a straightforward trade of one good for another. For example, I give you 2 apples in exchange for 5 potatoes. Bartering can also be a trade of a good for a service rendered. For example, a potato farmer hires 3 laborers to help him harvest his potatoes. In return, he gives them potatoes as payment.
Okay, what is this part about? What is the topic gonna be? It's gonna be about what? Trading or bartering, right? Alright. Then what is in this part? The meaning of bartering, alright? And then an example of bartering and a case where bartering can be a trade of good for a service, okay? And another example for that, alright? Okay. For most of human history, people didn't use money. Instead, they relied on trading or bartering to get goods and services. They relied on, what does that mean?
Rely on. Rely on means that you depend on that. You need that to survive or do the work properly. Relied on trading or bartering. What is trading? Trading is buying or selling or exchange of goods or services, okay, between people, companies, and or countries, okay. Trading or bartering. What is bartering? Bartering is exchanging one thing for the exchanging one good for another, okay? To get goods and services. What is goods? Goods is something that is produced to be sold, okay? Goods and services. What's a service? Service is activities such as tourism, okay, or selling things, all right, which does not involve producing or manufacturing things, okay, but it's a part of a country's economy. Bartering can be a straightforward trade of one good for another. Bartering can be a straightforward trade. What does straightforward mean? Straightforward means direct. It's a direct trade of one good for another. For example, I give you 2 apples in exchange for 5 potatoes. Bartering can also be a trade of a good for a service rendered. It can also be a trade of a good for a service rendered. What does that mean, render? If you render help or service, you help somebody or something, or you give service, okay? For example, a potato farmer hires 3 laborers to help him harvest his potatoes. A potato farmer hires. What does hire mean? Hire means to give money to a person for the work they do for you, all right? Hires 3 laborers. What's a laborer? You can have a U if it's British, and you don't have the U in American English, okay? Laborer is someone who does hard physical work, all right? To help him harvest his potatoes. What is harvest? Harvest is gathering the crops, okay? In return, he gives them potatoes as payment. In return, what does that mean, in return? Means for that, okay? To pay for that, okay? He gives them potatoes as payment. What is payment? The money that you get when you do a work, all right? Or for something that you give. So he gives them potatoes and not money. That is bartering, being a trade of good for a service, okay? So let's go to the next part.
The basis for bartering is need. Someone needs something that another person has. An agreement is reached, and goods or services, or both, are exchanged. This method hasn't changed in thousands of years. The method of exchange and the scope of bartering have, however, changed. Nowadays, bartering is done by individuals, large companies, and even governments. Trade exchanges have been established in many cities to help companies barter with other companies. At a trade exchange, a company can earn trading credits. It trades products to another company, which gives it trading credits. These credits don't have to be used with the same company. They can be used with any other company.
That's not exactly bartering, is it? I thought bartering was the direct trading of one thing for another.
Okay, what is this part about? This part is about why they do bartering, okay? And the method of exchange and the scope of bartering being changed, okay, over time. And then, what else? it talks about a trade exchange. Okay, companies can earn trading credits when it trades products to another company, and they don't have to be used with the same company. Okay, so this is what the part is about. The basis for bartering is need. The basis. What is basis? Basis is like a starting point from which it can be further developed. All right. So it's the most basic thing. All right. The basis for bartering is need. Okay? So people have to need something to do bartering. Someone needs something that another person has. An agreement is reached and goods or services or both are exchanged. An agreement is reached. What is agreement? Agreement is a formal decision about a future action. Okay, arranged by two or more people or companies or countries. All right. An agreement is reached. What does that mean? Reach. Reach means get. Okay. You get the agreement. All right. And goods or services are exchanged. What does that mean? Exchange. Exchange means to give something, and in return you get something. This method hasn't changed in thousands of years. This method. What is this method? Okay. Someone needs something that another person has, and after reaching an agreement, the goods or services are exchanged. This method. What is a method? Method is a way of doing something, all right? In thousands of years. What is thousands of years? It can be 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 4,000 years, but not 10,000. Okay, you can say like tens of thousands for that, or it doesn't mean 1,000 years either. You understand? Thousands of years. Okay. The method of exchange and the scope of bartering have, however, changed. Okay. The method of bartering hasn't changed, but the method of exchange has changed, all right? The method of exchange and the scope of bartering. What is scope? Scope is the whole area something is dealing with. Do you understand? The scope of bartering have, however, changed. What does that mean, however? You use however when you want to say something that contrasts what you have just said. Nowadays, bartering is done by individuals, large companies, and even governments. Nowadays, what does that mean? Nowadays means in the present time, okay? Bartering is done by individuals. What is an individual? Individual means relating to one person or one thing rather than to a large group, right? An individual is a person. Large companies and even governments. Even governments. What does even mean? You use even when you want to say something rather surprising, all right? And even governments. What is government? Government is a group of people who governs a country, okay? And what is governing then? Governing is being in official charge of a country, okay? And what they do is they make laws and then manage the economy and provide public services. That is governing. Trade exchanges have been established in many cities to help companies barter with other companies. Trade exchanges, okay? So what is this? have been established in many cities. What does established mean?